Everybody understands that Canada's economy is slowing. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons for it, some of them dating back several years. But obviously, the difficulty with the trade war is very bad for Canada. The slowdown in construction in Ontario and British Columbia is bad for the country. I mean, those are big industries in those two big provinces. So, is there also a concern that there's like a worldwide economic slowdown as a function of the trade war? Like, nobody actually had on their time horizon the idea that there'd be 165 or 145% tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States. Like, there's nobody said, yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen in 2025. Yeah. No, nobody said that. So it's concerning. And, we've got the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, publishing a report saying, yeah, we can see like a worldwide economic slowdown based on these trade sanctions, based on the uncertainty of every country in how they're going to move forward, particularly in their relationship to the United States, the difficulty of figuring out where the world's reserve currency, the US dollar, is going to land. And finally, just maybe the cumulative effect of way too much deficit spending in way too many countries is possibly going to come home to roost, and it with not a good effect. So could there be a worldwide economic slowdown? Maybe. I'm not certain. Like, it's obvious that one day President Trump could just wake up and say, I'm tired of getting my ass kicked on this thing, so maybe we'll just do the 10% reciprocal tariffs and call it a day and move on. Like, who the hell knows? I mean, it's like completely unpredictable. Nobody could say what's going on there. So could it be fixed soon? Maybe. The longer it runs, the longer worldwide trade tensions continue, the worse it gets, because businesses cannot plan for sweet FA if you don't know what's going to happen with trade next week. It's just impossible. So how do we manage that? I mean, what do we do about that? All right. If Canadian tariffs continue long enough, there is going to be some problems with the Canadian industry, but there's going to be some problems in the United States too that could actually push the United States into recession. I know. Whenever I say that, people go off, you're wrong. United States, greatest economy in the world, massive deficit spending. They support so many industries that they're going to reshore all their manufacturing. It's going to be so fucking good. Okay, maybe. But today, container traffic going into the West Coast ports of the United States and even into some of the East Coast ports is starting to fall off a cliff. And there's less goods coming from China and projected to be less and less goods coming from China. And actually, there's some things that the United States can't just hurry up and make. Like, you just can't spring up manufacturing overnight. You're not going to have somebody making all the small appliances in the United States. By the way, there was one study the other day where to get the same blender as they're getting from China or Vietnam or wherever they were getting it, to get the same blender and make it in the United States, it's 4 times the price for the blender. Okay, like, blender's gone from $29 to $135. I mean, sweet Jesus, who's going to buy that? Look, there could be empty shelves. Empty shelves mean slower stores, mean slower warehouses, mean everything slows down and people get laid off. That's as simple as that. That's not hard to understand, okay? Like, sure, maybe someday there is a factory to build $400 blenders. I don't know. But right now, there's no factory, there's no blender, and there's going to be no blender on the shelf, because even the $29 blender going up to an $89 blender in a week from China because of the tariff, the people who run the stores say, no, we're not going to load up on $89 blenders, okay? No, we're not. Just forget it. Just don't order any. So then it slows down everything. And that's called a recession. And so it is not impossible the United States to go into a recession. And by the way things work in North America is, if the United States sneezes, Canada gets COVID. I mean, that's reality. That's how it works. I mean, that's just how it's been for the last, 80 years since the Second World War. Just how it works. So, and we've got a lot of other problems too. And keep this in mind. I'm serious. Keep this in mind. If you're going to sell less cars in all of the United States, the whole of the United States, they're going to sell fewer cars. And doesn't that allow them to say, well, we're building these pickup trucks in Oshawa at the GM plant in Ontario. Hell, let's just build them in another, we could just maybe just slow that model down for a while, sell the other model we make in Tennessee and call it a day. Okay. Like, this is the really important thing to understand. If you reduce demand for a product and Canada is under a cloud, even if they sign the trade deal, even if tomorrow there's a new CUSMA deal and it's all solved, all the auto stuff is solved, these guys are going to start to think about it. I mean, do we need to go through that crap again? Says the people. And they're all Americans, for the love of God. They're Americans building cars in America. We're just here sort of accidentally building cars. Don't get me wrong. We do a hell of a good job. These cars, these cars are some of the highest quality cars that these factories make are in Canada. We do a good job. But do you need problems? You just don't need problems. Look, we have to accept that it's more meaningful to us. Oh, by the way, and in a slowdown, when things are really slowing down, when people are even drinking less beer, do you need to ship more aluminum to make more cans? I don't know. Maybe not. I guess maybe not. Oh, but Ron, in a recession, there's more beer drinking. People like to be drunk and forget their problems. Okay, no, I don't think so. I really don't think so. Look, this is important to understand. A worldwide economic slowdown has much more impact on Canada because we have had built-in weakness in our system. We make very little here. We manufacture a few things. Our economy was sort of propped up by construction, real estate, energy. Energy's still great, but we throttle it back with all kinds of goofy regulations by the federal government. Look, it'll be a lot more serious for Canada than it will be for many countries in the world. And that's why we need to reach some conclusions and fix some things up and change direction soon.